Welcome back to Doing Football. Today we're talking about training camp, risers, fallers. We're in the heat of preseason, and there's some guys that are making waves so far. Make sure if you're tuning in to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment.
Check out the Discord.
Draft guide.
A lot of value in there.
Down in the description. So Jared, let's start negative. Let's start with some fallers.
All right, some fallers. My first guy, it's pretty much a whole team, but I'm going Kenny Golladay. But it's really the entire Giants offense and the entire Giants team, to be real. Everything we've heard about this Giants team in training camp has been negative so far. Now, it's just some guys have even retired. That's how bad it's been. And Kenny Golladay, he suffered an injury. He was a hamstring injury, probably about a few weeks. But even before that, he was not doing well. He wasn't having good chemistry with Daniel Jones. He was dropping passes, fumbling the ball. So I was never high on this offense, mainly because I hate Daniel Jones. But this is making me even lower on Kenny Golladay, even though he was a pretty stud receiver in Detroit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Money, his skill set, and he's not sticking out. That's red flags, right?
Yeah.
This is team Daniel Jones haters.
Yeah,
the
for
two
sure.
of us can't stand that guy. He stinks. Who do you have number two?
My second guy, Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. And again, just like with the Giants, is pretty much this entire Cincinnati Bengals offense. Besides my guy, T. Higgins. Love that guy. He's having a great camp so far.
Yeah, we adjusted our rankings this morning on the draft guide. And I looked at it, and I'm inputting them for Jared. I'm like, dude, if this guy doesn't have an unbelievable season, you might be in for one. Because I think you had him at like wide receiver 18.
He's going to have an unbelievable season. Don't worry.
He's
draft him.
I'm like, yeah,
Fifth
you just
round,
have to draft
pick.
him in every format if you're this high on him, or every league that you're in.
Yeah. But reports out of camp, Joe Burrow has struggled badly with interceptions and inconsistency in training camp. His struggles have been particularly noteworthy. Throws that felt like layups last year are dropping harmlessly away from receivers or easily broken up by multiple defenders. So clearly, he's not doing well. It's probably got to do with the injury a lot.
Yeah, it speaks to his lower body. He's not getting through on his throws.
He's probably pretty scared, honestly, of defenders coming at him. He doesn't want to get injured again.
Oh, my God, guys. Just again, I've said this before. I said this when we had the stock exchange, guys. Like, shout out to the Bengals for taking Jamar Chase and not shoring up the offensive line.
Chase hasn't been great either in camp. There's been
the injury wasn't as simple as just an ACL tear. There was a little bit more to it. There's a little bit more ligament damage, so it's not such a simple process for him. But again, offensive line's a problem, and then it just if Burrow coming back from this injury might be a little skittish in terms of what he used to be able to do. So
I think he'll figure it out, but it might mean a slow start this season.
Yeah, it might be slow, but I like him as a guy, as a player. I think he'll figure it out, but it might take some time.
Who's your fallers?
First one, this is a hype train that's always been going very slow, easy to get on, easy to get off. It's time to get off and just forget it. Leave it alone. If there was ever a time for Trequan Smith of the New Orleans Saints to be a fantasy relevant player, I think it would be this year with Michael Thomas, this injury. You thought even more so. But it's not happening for him. He's been banged up in camp. He's been missing practices the last few days now. Marquez Callaway has looked good in camp. They've been talking him up a fair bit. And he's going to get moved. This is going to move him back in the depth chart in an offense that really might not find a lot of success outside of Alvin Kamara. And we saw it last year without Michael Thomas. Jared Cook was relevant, but there really wasn't a lot of other guys that were fantasy relevant assets. Even Emmanuel Sanders wasn't someone you were able to play in fantasy football. So let's move on from Trequan Smith. The outlook here in camp so far isn't good either. So
yeah, this really is his last chance. If he can't do it, he's a complete bust.
Yeah.
But if he honestly had the same chance last year, like Michael Thomas missed almost the entire year and he still did nothing. So I don't really like him. I like Marquez Callaway a lot more, I think, at this point. And some people are moving him up draft boards because of the Michael Thomas injury, but with what we've seen so far, I'm not willing to do that. I'm definitely fading him at his cost currently.
Yeah, he was still a late round pick, and in traditional drafts, you might not even consider him. But even late now, I'd much rather have Marquez Callaway and
definitely
look at other options like Latavius Murray and Adam Troutman. So before I go to my second faller, let's go to who you have as a riser because they kind of tie in together.
Yeah. All right, my riser, it's Terrace Marshall of the Carolina Panthers. Now, there have been a lot of great reports coming out of this camp that he's going to be the guy to replace Curtis Samuel in the slot, which, as we saw with Curtis Samuel last year, that was a great role for him, and he produced very well. Now, I don't think Terrace Marshall will have quite that good of a season, especially with McCaffrey coming back, and they got Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore still there. But he's going to be somebody who is going to have a role immediately, and he's the favorite to be the wide receiver 3. Now, he's definitely more of a play in Dynasty, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him have a Chase Claypool type season with this offense, where he is looking like somebody who might not play too much because there's so much talent around him, but his talent alone just pushes him ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, second round pick. They've even been talking about trying to they're kind of force feeding him the ball in camp. They want him to be involved. And you kind of hit the nail there with Chase Claypool, is that, and where people are excited about Claypool this season is they think he can score a lot of touchdowns. I see the issues of the offense is DJ Moore can't get in the end zone. Robbie Anderson scored 3 times last year. These were guys he liked because of the volume, PPR type or full PPR formats would be nice players to have, but the end zone's been a problem for them. And maybe Terrace Marshall's the guy that eats up these touchdowns.
They need someone who can
offense.
score besides Tmack.
So that, again, with Marshall is a reason that I've got a faller being DJ Moore. It has a lot to do with Terrace Marshall and the fact that if he's eating into the amount of receptions to go around as one guy, but also Christian McCaffrey being back, this is a player that, again, like I said, touchdowns were an issue. So if his totals in terms of yardage and receptions are getting eaten into by a healthy McCaffrey and a guy in Terrace Marshall they took in the second round and really like, then DJ Moore is a little bit of a scary play in terms of being a back end. He's right now being drafted like a back end wide receiver 1. So something to keep an eye on for sure in the rest of camp. He's not, for sure, I think he'll still be able to be a, sorry, did I say back end wide receiver 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, back end wide receiver 2, sorry. Like he's like 18, I think, 19. So middle. I still think he'll probably finish in the wide receiver 2, borderline 3 area. But again, he's going to need to score. The upside isn't really there as much. So something, again, keep an eye on.
I've never been a DJ Moore guy either. And now even less with Terrace Marshall there.
So I'll go to I have as a riser. This player has been looking really good in camp. Donovan Peoples-Jones of the Cleveland Browns. He's been relied on with Baker Mayfield a lot so far in camp. He had a big day. I can't remember what exactly. It was over the weekend, I think. He had like 5 or 6 catches, broke like a 60-yard touchdown. And then I saw these reports, and I'm looking into him as a player. And I do remember last year when Odell was out and in the playoffs, he saw the field a fair bit and was relied on for Baker too then. And then I looked at his player profiler,
the great
99th
athlete.
percentile agility score.
Yeah.
Like it's off the charts. He's 6'2", running a sub 4.5 40. Like there's a lot of athleticism from this guy. 22 years old still. He now has the offseason to kind of get in with the offense. Of course, last year with COVID didn't get the chance to do so. Certainly not, it's someone that won't be on your radar early on in your drafts. In your drafts, he won't be on your radar. But maybe later in the season, he sticks out a lot, or dynasty for sure. Yeah, an injury with the two guys.
Odell or Jarvis get hurt?
Exactly. So I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like his talent. He was at Michigan and dealt with some really bad quarterback play. So I like Peoples-Jones in dynasty for sure.
Yeah.
And then maybe he's a relevant guy if one of these wide receivers go down.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to be very relevant in your draft from a redraft perspective. But as we said, he can definitely come into your lineup later on in the season. And he did show a pretty good rapport with Baker Mayfield last season, so there's a chance that he can bring it back again. Mm-hmm. All it takes is one injury.
But Jared's
keep an eye out for him.
You're not a sixth round profile.
Yeah, I don't like the guys drafted late in drafts, so there's no chance he sees 1,000 yards plus.
The reason he was late was definitely Michigan. Bad quarterback play, but a good athlete and a steal for the Browns.
Draft capital matters.
Exactly. Okay, tell me who you've got as the second riser.
My last riser is Elijah Moore of the New York Jets. And listen, it's been like months now. Only good news. It's like every single day almost, it seems like more good news piling up about Elijah Moore every day. Like this guy, he's quickly moved up into the first team offense in camp. He's taken over Keelan Cole's role in that offense. He doesn't even only play slot. He can move outside too. It doesn't matter. He's consistently been the best player on the field, as we've heard from a lot of people. And if he's able to do that as a rookie, like I could see immediate production for him. And even by mid-season, he could be this team's wide receiver 1. That's how high I am on him. Like this guy's a really good player, and you need to be drafting him in like the 10th or 11th round.
He's by far been like the biggest standout of camp since June, since OTAs, since rookies reported. Like this is the guy everybody's been talking about in terms of a riser. So it makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of his success this year will depend on how Zach Wilson progresses. He hasn't looked good this past week in camp. He's been a little bit skittish. So I'm a little worried about in neutral game scripts how willing they'll be to throw the ball. They might kind of try to shelter him a little bit, but
he definitely needs Zach
there.
Wilson to at least be decent for him to have a good year.
Yeah, 100%. But again, Jared did say to take Elijah Moore. Forget it. I've got the wide receiver that you are going to need this season. The rookie wide receiver you're going to need this season. His name's Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. Look, every year there are at least two wide receivers who finish inside the top 24.
It's not going to be Amon-Ra.
You might think it's Elijah
not
Moore.
going to be Amon-Ra.
You might think Elijah Moore is a dark horse for that, but look, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No, it's not.
It is. Look, let's get into it, okay? If this report doesn't do it for you, from Nick Baumgartner of The Athletic, the guy who's, he's around camp, he's on site, he's on field, he's seeing everything going on. He says, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been the Lions' best and most consistent wide receiver in training camp.
That's not saying much. Look who else they have: Tyrell Williams.
Let me speak, Jared.
Prashad Perriman. It's goats.
So this is another thing that speaks to Amon-Ra St. Brown: his heart, his work ethic. Just a great dude he is. He's a dude. So last week, I think it was Tuesday, somebody asked Dan Campbell about the Giants' little scufflebutt, their little training camp fight, and he was reminiscing. He was saying, I love that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. Shows heart, determination, will to win, grittiness. Loves it. Said he loved it. What did Amon-Ra St. Brown do the next day? Got in a fight with one of the DBs. He's showing that heart, that big old heart he has. Now, let's forget about the stuff that isn't measurable, but is fantastic about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's get into the team, the crux of this riser that is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tyrell Williams, as he's been for the last 3 seasons, banged up, hasn't been practicing. Prashad Perriman, another irrelevant guy. Get them out of here. They stink. They suck. He's been banged up too. Quintez Cephas apparently banged up. This guy's on the field. He's building that rapport with Jared Goff. He's out there. He's working his ass off. You know what he did last week?
What did he
Practice finished up.
Wow.
Caught 100 balls.
Wow.
Just
incredible.
This guy
athlete.
wants it. He really, really wants it. But that's not all. It's not just that he wants it. It's that the opportunity is there for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look, this is the guy. This is the dude you're forgetting about.
Remember Jared
Fuck
Goff?
Elijah Moore.
Jared Goff is his quarterback.
Jared
Wilson. Goff is not a great quarterback.
Jared Goff is a NFL veteran who will be trusted in the offense. Can we say the same about Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson actually has upside, unlike Goff.
Yes, but he's struggling. He might be sheltered.
TJ Hawkinson
this is
will
the
be the
only
one,
guy
remember.
they can let start at quarterback for the Jets. This can't go wrong. They need to shelter this man. They need to protect him. They need to put a glass box around him.
No.
Yep, they do.
TJ Hawkinson will be the 1. DeAndre Swift will be the 2, and then whatever's left, Amon-Ra can have.
To me.
And whatever that is, it's not going to be
Amon-Ra
much.
St. Brown is going to have higher fantasy points per game than Elijah Moore this season.
No, we had to make a bet on this.
Yeah, that's the bet.
All right, bet.
More fantasy points per game.
Whoever has more fantasy points per game this year, Elijah Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'll even give you 2-to-1 odds. My $100,
Shake my
your
fucking hand already,
$50.
would you?
Make that bet.
It's the easiest money I ever
Lock
made in
it
my
in.
life.
Easiest $50 I've ever made.
The people watching are probably thinking that I'm crazy because
Yes, you are.
You're just on
You're so
Twitter
crazy.
and all you're seeing is like Elijah Moore, Elijah Moore, Elijah Moore. But look behind the curtain. The guy who's quiet, who's getting it done, Amon-Ra St. Brown is. The opportunity's there. The passing volume's going to be there. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Elijah Moore.
Nobody's drafting him yet in traditional leagues.
Let us know which side of the bet you would take.
Be the guy that does it.
Let us know which one of those 2 guys you'd take in the comments.
Yeah, 4 risers, 4 fallers in trading camp so far. Drop a comment down below. Let us know about that. Any other videos you want to see. Like the video if you enjoyed. And of course, subscribe to the channel as we crush fantasy football content in the month of August and all season long. We'll see you guys next time.